For those of you who are keeping up with my weight training journey, I feel that I need to go ahead and say out loud what I just told my wife, and she fully supported. But starting next week, I'm going to experiment with plant-based again. So in case you didn't know, I was a vegan for 5.5 years and a vegetarian for 7. A year and a half ago, I stopped doing that so that I could try to start eating more protein, more complex protein, so that I could ultimately slim down. And I started weight training back in February of this year. And while I am seeing the muscle build, I'm not seeing the fat go away. And also last week I stopped doing my whey protein because after realizing that the sucralose in there was ultimately causing me to keep the fat in my body because my body was reacting like that was sugar times 5. And also I couldn't digest the sucralose. As much as I appreciated the 60 grams of protein from the whey, it defeated the purpose with having that sucralose in there. And there was no other, I was using Body Fortress, there was no other brand that had 60 grams per serving and that only cost like $16 a canister. So this week I've been doing no protein supplements, and I've been still doing my eggs, doing turkey sandwiches on Dave's bread in addition to working out. But last night I was watching a brand new episode of Gym and Fridge from Men's Health, I guess, on YouTube, and it had Mark Wahlberg on there. And it was talking about how he's went plant-based since May, basically since COVID started. And it made me think, you know, I always loved being plant-based, being vegan. I always loved it. I never had a problem with it. I didn't feel limited by it. But something I never did was weight train while being a vegan. I ran and I mountain biked, but I never weight trained while being a vegan. And I'm interested in the experiment of it because ultimately the concept of weight training is you want to, in theory, half of your calories come from complex protein like eggs and lean meat and whey protein, and that's what builds the mass, builds the muscle. So if you're vegan, the only complex protein would be from peas instead of from whey. It'd be from peas. And I don't know so much that I'd be interested in doing the powders again, even if they were vegan based. But I know how to be a vegan. I was one for so long, 5.5 years. So I did just tell my wife just moments ago, I said, okay, I'm gonna go through the rest of the eggs in the fridge and the rest of the turkey meat in the fridge, and we have a chicken dinner thing that we're doing tonight that we're cooking. And I said, and who knows, maybe this weekend if we go out, you know, maybe I'll get something that's meat or whatever. But ultimately, I want to experiment with this. I care so much about having control over my own body, what I eat, and, you know, how much fat is on my body. It really matters to me. And I'm sure part of it is COVID. A lot of it's my personality. I need to be in control of what I can control, not what I cannot control. So I'm going to experiment with that starting next week. I'm excited about it. I always loved being a vegan. It was never an issue until I started gaining fat. But I can accept now in hindsight knowing that at a certain age, I would have to start weight training anyway because your body finds ways to store fat after a certain age. For most men, I would imagine. So that's where I'm at. That just happened. I was a little nervous to tell my wife because I thought, oh man, she's gonna feel obligated or pressured knowing that I feel this way. But she amazingly instantly agreed, pointing out that we're largely plant-based a lot of days anyway, especially for her and what she makes for dinner. So maybe we could be plant-based and then occasionally eat meat or something like that. But ultimately, I think we're gonna experiment, not commit, but experiment going back to the concept of being plant-based while weight training, a combination I've yet to do, and maybe see if I could get better results. Because my goal was never to be big and buff. My goal was always to be lean. That's all I wanted. Was a chest that sticks out further than my stomach, and for this to get tight. that's ultimately what I was looking to do. So maybe this could actually end up working. I will be the human experiment. Your comments belong right here.